We're rolling.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Housing Committee meeting. Today is Thursday, May 22nd. Our meeting is supposed to start at 4 p.m. Our address is at 367 Main Street. Good evening and welcome to the May 22nd, 2025 meeting of Barnstable Housing Committee here at Barnstable Town Hall at 367 Main Street in Hyannis, Mass. It's a Selectmen's Conference Room, second floor. This meeting notice has been previously filed with Town Clerk in accordance with the Massachusetts General Law. This meeting will be replayed via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via the Government Access Channel, live video on demand, archives on the Town of Barnstable website. Notice of recording. This meeting of the Barnstable Housing Committee is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make their presence known. So far, we received no one to reply to that. Meeting is now called to order. My name is Hilda Hay, and I'm the chair of the Barnstable Housing Committee. I'm going to just go around the table and each one just introduce themselves, please. Go ahead, Donald.
Good afternoon. Don Lind.
Chris Beach.
Joe DeConio.
Corey Pacheco, Senior Planner, Planning and Development.
I am not a member of the committee. I'm Jillian Douglas. I'm here to represent the Affordable Housing Trust.
Thank you. And we also see we have two members of our community.
Yes.
Introduce yourself.
My name is John Crone with Town Council for Precinct 5.
Thank you, John.
And Chris Clark, Town Councilor from Precinct 11.
Thank you from Precinct 11. This evening we want to welcome new member of our committee, Joseph. Thank you for being here and thank you for willing to serve our community as we all are doing here right now.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. Okay. General public comment. This is for public comment, not on the agenda this evening. I'm not sure if Councillor Crowe has anything to say or her name was?
Councilor Clark.
Okay, thank you, Chris. We're gonna start with updates from the Planning and Development Department, Corey, Pacheco, and Jillian. Would you like to give us an update?
Sure. So
What's going
first on the update is a rundown of some local action unit applications that were submitted to the state since your last meeting in January. One was 50 Main Street for 1 unit and 201 Main Street for 10 units. And also, I forgot to put on the agenda, but 473 Main Street, which was 2 units. So those applications were submitted to Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities for review. It generally takes 2 to 3 months for their review to go through the application process. And I also have here tonight for Hilda to sign as well another application, 11 Potter Avenue, which is 3 units at 80% AMI. And that was through a local action from the Affordable Housing and Development Growth Fund Board provided $450,000.
Yes, it hasn't been allocated. It's been committed, but they have not started that project yet.
Right.
They were waiting for part of this.
Okay, so currently we are in the process of submitting this.
I just couldn't see you.
Sorry, all right. So currently, once Hilda signs this application, this will go to town manager for his signature, and we can then submit this application to EOHLC for their review process. And at some point in the next 3 to 4 months, we'll get these units on the SHI. And as you know, I'm not quite aware, I provided some information in your packet about the LIP program and local action units, which are, it's a housing initiative administered by EOHLC, which encourages communities to produce affordable housing for low or moderate income households. And the state provides technical and non-financial assistance to cities and towns to increase the housing supply, the affordable housing supply at or below 80% of the area median income. And then eventually these units are put onto the SHI. And obviously local action units are created through local municipal action other than comprehensive permits. For example, special permits or inclusionary zoning, which a lot of our LAU applications are because of inclusionary zoning ordinance, or conveyance of public land or utilization of CPA funds. So that's kind of
So special permits go right through the zoning board.
correct, yeah. There could be a specific part of the special permit that allows for affordable housing. And this committee serves as a local housing partnership with the state for the LIT program. And that, it shows that the town of Barnstable supports and is actively involved in the project. And also the developer and the municipality, generally this committee and the planning department will submit the application for state approval. And the town provides non-financial support such as zoning flexibility, which we do have. And it's designed to meet housing goals of affordability and design and location suitability. So that's where we're at with the update of the local action unit applications. We'll definitely we have some more in the pipeline coming through. So we have legal reviewing an application currently for 235 Barnstable Road. So once that is reviewed, Hilda can sign it and get it off to the state.
Corey, is there, the local action, it's a lot to read and digest, but how does this change our existing or pre-existing, the local action unit? Is that the same as the accessible units?
What do you mean accessible units?
Somebody makes an application that they're gonna make their garage a unit.
Yep.
It's ADU, ACU.
AD.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with the accessory dwelling unit at all.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
local ignition
Local
is different.
action unit,
Action.
yes. It's a local action by the town to provide a unit that is affordable at a certain area median income, generally 65% with our inclusionary ordinance. But it has to be at or below 80% of area median income to qualify.
And what is the median income now? I know it's a change.
I don't have that information in hand, and it varies by family size as well, so I could provide that for you as.
Well, next meeting or something.
Yeah, I could email
Good to
you
be
our.
talking dollars, just to say it's affordable because it's only 80%.
I mean, off the
80%
top
of
of
$1
my head,
million.
Last time was like 600,000, was it somewhere in there?
no, I mean, like 80% area median income for a
80%
family of four is
family of
generally around $80,000.
80,000 or yes.
For a family of
yes.
four.
An estimate's fine.
Yeah, so I mean, I can provide you exact statistics, I just don't have them on hand for you here.
Yeah.
So is the purpose of this application then, what's the outcome of this application? Is it just that the state certifies that these units qualify for inclusion in your SHI?
Correct. Well, yeah, I mean, it gets us closer to that 10% mark for the subsidized housing inventory. So that's kind of the purpose of getting these units on the SHI.
So aside from just approving the application, does anything from the state come back or get involved in this, or this is really just a?
They'll look at the deed restriction, because these are restricted for the remainder of the property's life, so the unit life. So yeah, they provide technical support. They'll review the restriction, provide comments. They look at the monitoring agreement between, there's a third party that will generally monitor the units to make sure they're affordable in perpetuity, and they'll review every year. They'll look at the units and make sure that they're occupied by people who actually make that meet that income threshold. So they'll also look at the lottery as well in terms of how the units are marketed and make sure they're marketed to people of that income eligible, correct?
Yeah, chapter B requires the state gets their big hand that we're supposed to have a minimum of 10% of affordable. And we haven't made that in a long time, but we're making some progress.
Yep, exactly. And that 10% affordable housing threshold allows the community to deny comprehensive permit applications for new affordable housing developments if they don't meet the community's idea of what that development should be.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Corey. Is that all?
Yeah, it's a little long-winded, but those are the 3 applications that have been submitted, and we'll have the 11 plotters submitted, and then hopefully 235 Barnstable Road shortly.
Okay, thank you.
But make sure you sign
Yeah,
the
I will
application before
I
you leave, so we
yes.
can get it moving.
Okay, thank you.
Just quick, how many units are going into 201 Main Street?
95 total.
Oh, okay.
So,
Wow,
and
that's a
then
lot.
there'll be 85 market rate and then 10% affordable, so, or 10, it'll be 10 units, so 10% of the units needed to be affordable.
Yep.
Deed restricted at 65% area medium income, so we have 10 units out of the 95 total.
You say, they're apartments or they just,
They'll be rentals, yes.
wow, that's a lot for that lot.
Well, hopefully it'll hold down the real rents too, not just the affordables that, there's people are soaking up the apartments. And there's none available, the price goes up. If there's vacant ones, the landlords will lower the price.
That is the hope, yes.
We're hoping we're getting there slowly. Each time we get a few units here and there, it makes a big difference in the life of those that need it most.
Seems like there's a lot of construction in Hyannis right now. Everywhere I go, there's a new, which is great, you know what I mean, so.
I think it will make the market a little bit more competitive. And hopefully, and we'll keep the prices at bay, which is what we're hoping for. Okay, Jillian, what do you have to share with us today?
Well, I want to introduce myself also to Joseph because he's new and he hasn't met me yet. Jillian Douglas, and Hilda has my phone number, and I hope that you guys, if you have any questions, I can talk about affordable housing for days. So please feel free, any questions on or off the record. And I just wanted to provide, this is just a little spreadsheet of the trust projects. As Corey had alluded, under the local action unit application, that one application that's for 11 Potter Avenue, that is a trust, it will be a trust funded project. So there will be 3 affordable units in that. It's a small development. And I guess, so I wanted to provide this so that you could see what the other projects are. And I just wanted to point out that at the top of this list, up until everything above the green bar are units that have actually been completed and are occupied. And so those are 66 units that the trust has helped to fund, 23 of which are perpetually deed restricted. And so that ties back to what Corey had said about the local action units. So when we deed restrict the units, the state is recognizing the deed format and acknowledging that those will stay affordable.
So, Jillian, these are deed restricted in perpetuity?
Correct.
Because a lot of deed restrictions expire at 30 years, so we've got some
Right.
legal base. Oh, good.
Yeah, so the trust, the majority of the funds that fund the trust are coming from the Community Preservation Act, and those have a requirement for a perpetual deed restriction unless they are through the Commonwealth Builder Program, and we'll talk about that at some point in the future, because we haven't done that project yet.
Just one quick question. This grant amount on the last column, that's money. That's not
Those are
paid
funds.
back. Who, is that Barnstable or is that the state or is that the federal government?
These are just the funds that the trust has allocated towards these projects.
Okay, it's our trust. It's the.
And so the trust is
It's the
receiving
Barnstable.
funds from the Community Preservation Committee, so the
Right.
Community Preservation Act,
The 2% every year that people pay for the.
3%
the deed.
tax, yes. It's a part of the real estate tax, and you'll see it on your tax bill. It's actually divided out to show you. The state also matches those funds as a Community Preservation Committee, or a community. We receive a match from the state as well, which is really beneficial to
Oh, yeah,
the town.
very good.
Let's see, I guess I can also, if anybody has questions about how the Community Preservation Act functions or what it does, I can answer any questions. The primary issue with the trust is that they are separate from the Community Preservation Committee. We apply annually for funds specific to support housing. And we will be applying next month for $2.5 million. And I will be presenting that to their meeting. I don't have the meeting date yet, but I will share that with you as well. And
I know we had some discussion last year perhaps that funding, it's every year, like you say. That's kind of, wishing and hoping. Is there any way that could be a line item in the town or?
well, I can say that the funds come to the Community Preservation Committee, and then we apply for them. They've never turned us down, and they've been very generous and supportive of the trust.
Well, that's good. I was just, I feel better if like the 2% on the real estate tax, that the affordable got 8% or something.
Under the community.
But they haven't turned us down, that's good.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job.
Well, they obviously support the housing that the town has done. And under the Community Preservation Act, of that pool of the 3% on your real estate tax bill, 10% is allocated to housing, 10% to historic preservation, and another 10% to open space and recreation. And then the balance of those funds are discretionary to the Community Preservation Committee. They can allocate those according to, but they typically are responding only to applications. So in other words, for people out in the community or entities that wish to apply for those funds, they have to apply to the Community Preservation Committee for those funds. So let's see, I guess I'll just state the bottom point was just to stress that from the funds that have been committed to date, there are 271 units that are not built yet. 93 of those will be deed restricted. And so the total amount as of spring 2025, total units that the trust has supported is 337, and the deed restricted units among those are 113. So progress,
Yes.
and more coming. We receive applications.
We don't have any vote today I'm on the board of directors for the Cayman Islands, so I have to recruit myself.
No.
They already got the money, you approved them, good.
Yeah, no, this is just an update for you, just a reference material for you to have that. And then I guess I would also say that the trust strategy to date has been to partner with local developers to leverage more units out of what is, so they have the mandatory amount, which is under your zoning ordinance that have to be provided, that's the 10%. And then this is above and beyond is what the trust funds.
Is there any benefit or is there anything that we could do to a developer to say, instead of 10, because we're never gonna get to the state's 10% if you only build 10. It gets closer and closer, 1 millionth one, could be, if they would do 11 or 12%.
That is precisely what the trust offers them. It gives
okay.
them
That's what these grants are about?
These supplemental funds are
right.
intended to add more deed restricted units than they are required to do. And it is, the developers do need something, an incentive to do that. And the town does have multiple tools that it can use through tax increments.
Is there a timeline, Jillian, on the Stevens Street, those in blue, and the Sprotten Apartments? Is there a timeline on those?
I don't have a timeline yet. I can tell you that they have been before the trust and the funds have been committed, if you will, so set aside. But then the next piece is that those deed restrictions, as we know, are very complicated documents. There's also negotiations that take place so there's the legal documents at this point are in review.
Okay.
So I don't have.
That's a good example of what you were saying about the trust. Stevens Street, 50, it should be 5, but they're gonna be 40. They're gonna be, whatever that is, 80%.
Yeah, I should point out that the
Deed
Housing
restricted.
Assistance Corporation, which is the proponent of that project, they're not a private developer, they are a nonprofit developer, I should say. So that's I guess their whole purpose is to provide affordable housing. In the general economics of things, a developer is not ordinarily going to offer you something more or at a lower price unless you subsidize it, generally.
Hack.
So that was really all. I just wanted to give you some update and I wanted to express that I'm available anytime. And please do feel free to call.
Thank you, Jillian. We appreciate it and we're so grateful. 337 is a good number to be looking at and moving forward. So I know the preservation has been doing a great job in trying to help out.
Right,
With,
it's we're up to 1/3 of these restrictions.
Yeah, 130.
Primarily because of the hack, the
Yes.
Housing Assistance Corp, but I don't care how it comes, the more affordable one. Hilda, we have a question.
Thank you, Ms. Ace. I have a question for Ms. Douglas, if you don't mind. Are there other sources of income for the Affordable Housing Trust other than the CPA money?
Through the chair, at the moment, the majority of the funding is coming from the Community Preservation Act funding. There are other options that a trust can take. In other words, you can designate you can allocate different funds from the town's general fund. You could have other ordinances, other fees and fines can go to a trust. Let's see, grants, the town can apply for grants that can go also to supplement trust funds or to fund the trust. Other things might be donations. I know people don't think about that too much, but a municipality as a tax exempt entity can receive gifts and donations, and the donor can take a tax deduction for that. So there are options for when a community wants to raise more money for affordable housing. And I guess I always encourage people to engage their town if they're at a position where they might wish to donate to a municipal trust. Land, property, assets, all of those things can be accrued in a trust and reserved specifically for a purpose.
Interesting, thank you. If I may continue, is it possible for that option for donations to have a presence on the website?
It could,
Somewhere?
I think
Because I imagine many aren't aware that this is an avenue for providing, for boosting the income stream.
through the chair, I will bring that back to the trust president to ask if he's in favor of that, so.
Thank you.
And that would make, it make it public and it solicits, if you will, from the public for that.
And how to go about it, I would think just a
Yes.
link or something like that, that if somebody was in a position, say, somebody who's elderly and moving and may not have any direct heirs, may have this opportunity. But if they're not aware of it at the time they need that, at the time that it works for them, that, I guess, get the word out would be helpful. Thank you.
If I could,
Thank you. Thank you, yes.
through the chair, some town trusts have received donations of land and homes and, things like that. So it is, it's not always very easy to manage, and sometimes the asset isn't readily available for the purpose. But it can be sold. It's another way to raise money.
It sounds like a lot of information would be needed, but I think that it would be healthy to put it out there for the public.
Thank you.
But I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think that's a good one.
Corey, list of townhome properties. Did we get that list?
So you had asked for us to put together a list, and planning and development is still working on identifying appropriate opportunities with asset management still. Me and Jim are still working on that, so it's a long list, and we're trying to, figure out
All
what
right.
parcels potentially could, be appropriate, but, that has to be considered through town council, obviously. But currently, like, top priorities are the town council is still exploring community-supported opportunities for affordable housing on the Marston Mills School property site and land around the Barnstable Adult Community Center. Those are the kind of the two priorities in terms of town-owned parcels for potential affordable housing. But those efforts are still ongoing. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of.
Okay. So thank you for still working on it.
Has there been any progress on the Marston's Mills redevelopment? I mean, I voted there in 2008, and it looked like a fine school. The next year they closed it. It's nothing I did. I didn't pull the electric, or, but we've been trying to, do something there. Whether it's a new school, or whether it's housing, or, there were a million programs or a park. That's a long time ago. It's almost 20 years. And it may be the size of there's all sorts of reasons, but I'd just like to push that. I live in Marston's Mills, sorry.
Yeah, well, there's recently some proposed potential development scenarios presented to town council.
Yeah, I think we had a meeting not too long ago.
Yeah, it was late last year. I think it was last year.
But there's three different plans, and I'd just like to see one plan that was going ahead July 1st. We're not going to see that.
We're not at that point yet for the Marston Mills site.
Okay.
Well, moving forward on anything on that site's dependent on the sewer line, isn't it?
Correct, yes.
So we're still waiting. That is still something in progress that are still being worked on. And hopefully, probably by the end of this year, we can come up with a conclude decision on what we want to do with that piece of land. And because I think the longer we wait, the more everything is so expensive now. The price of everything has tripled. The longer we wait, and it just keeps dragging out. So hopefully, we probably by the end of the year or something, that some opportunities or we come to some conclusion with the piece of land. But for now, we're still in waiting.
Okay.
Barnstable, SHI.
So the biennial update of the SHI, so I recently submitted our update to the state. So every 2 years, EOHLC updates the SHI by collecting data from municipalities to verify and revise the number of qualifying subsidized housing units. So recently, me and Jim went through the SHI, and we found a couple of projects that either fell through the cracks. At least one that was submitted a few years ago that didn't get approval by the state. So we incorporated. It's called the Bell Tower Mall Project at 1600 Falmouth Road. There's 26 units, 3 affordables. So that paperwork was submitted, but there was some lingering details that were yet to be kind of approved by the state. So we're working on getting that finalized. Also, we added Linnell Landing, which was 50 Yarmouth Road. There were 2 affordable units in that project. So I was able to submit that complete package with the update. So hopefully, at least this particular project has gone through the whole process. So hopefully this will be approved. The Bell Tower Mall project will probably take a little longer. But those are the 2 projects that we're able to add to the update.
Yes. Well, thank you. We're just trying to get a hold on what we have and how we go about, because I think we have lost track of affordable housing, where they are they still affordable, so I think we just need to get that under control, know where we're at and how we're gonna move forward, and just to make sure those that are affordable, that they are there for the people who need it most. So that is why I'd asked for an update.
Corey, did I hear you right? My hearing aids are running now. That you were trying to get a list of ones deemed appropriate for affordable housing. Wouldn't it be easier to just hit a computer key and get all the places, all the town-owned property, and then we might be able to decide, or we might be able to say, hey, this would be a nice location, or we'd have something to discuss. I don't know, would that be easier to get a list of all town properties?
Oh, I mean,
Or is that as much trouble as getting
we do have an Excel spreadsheet of all town-owned properties, and there's a lot. And a lot of them are not eligible for, potential affordable housing projects, So.
Well, do you think you can make a determination in 2 or 3 months? Something, there's no real hurry, but, I think it would help us if we knew, what properties and was there a problem, and is there any way we can assist, or, tell our town councilors to assist?
Well, that was the aim, when I asked to see if we could get the numbers together, or the locations of where these are and what is buildable. And I think that would help us greatly in properties and who is coming in to build. It would help our builders to cut down on the costs and to give us more eligibility for affordable housing. That was the whole aim of what I was trying to kind of get to see how we can better assist builders in getting property at a lower rate, or the cost of housing down.
Are you talking about land? Or
Well, land and or buildings.
that you
On
could
the
like
land.
fix up and convert or something like that?
We'll,
Oh, I'm just asking if that's what you meant.
Yeah,
Oh.
that adds another,
Yeah.
another list, but the ones with are vacant lands and ones that have a building on them, whether it can be rehabbed or not, we get into, but is there a list of just vacant property with no buildings, just land?
I
I don't know,
mean,
maybe that would be easier.
I'm sure there is an
That would be a
identified
shorter
list
list
of
than-
town-owned vacant parcels that
Yeah,
asset management has.
that would be a shorter list than ones with a building. I think.
we'll continue to work with Corey and Jim, right? To see what we
Correct.
can come up with and how we can go about making
Yeah.
it easier, make the list shorter, what is buildable, what's not buildable,
Yeah.
and how the town can help with new construction or
Well, if we had some sort of list, we could do a letter to the town council. We're interested
Or the
in
town
affordable.
manager,
Here
yeah.
are some properties, is there anything you can help us with? But see, we don't even know what's out there and we don't know where
Well,
to.
there can't be that many plots left, like just in general, owned by Barnstable or not, right? I mean,
I think there's
That's what
hundreds.
That's what we're figuring out.
yeah, that's, cause I mean, you'd have to go to real estate companies and see what they have and those kind of things, so. But maybe fixing them up, that's a good idea. What's out there?
Maybe we could go online, but I don't know. My computer skills are. I know where the on button is.
well, we have Corey and he's been doing a very good job trying to help out in
excellent.
that area with Jim, trying to make the list a little bit shorter and to see what's available. So I expect probably in another few months that we'll have this available to us, hopefully, so we
Works
can
for
work
growth
on.
development, it doesn't work for us. But I'm thankful for growth development to allow you to do this extra job, because
Sure.
this is big, and I think it's good to have the community, involved, because we all know, 10 or 20 people. So it does help the community to,
Okay, next on our list, training opportunities. What kind of training
I was
opportunities?
just kind of
do we have?
asking you if you're interested to receive, potential training opportunities from me, if you're interested in receiving anything.
I would, because the more knowledge I have, the better I would be. Sure, 100%.
Okay.
I can teach John how to use a computer.
That is helpful too. Teach one, teach one.
Yeah. I know Jillian had some ideas as well, so kind of work together.
Yes.
Yeah, if I could, there is a wealth of videos through on the Lower Cape, there's the Community Development Partnership that does a Housing Institute, Housing 101 classes,
I've
and
done a couple of those.
yeah, and I know Hilda's aware of that. Certainly, if people want it, I can circulate the link to those webs. They're basically YouTube videos, and they're interesting. Some get into deed restrictions, year-round housing, funding, the financing, all the different programs that are.
Going out and speaking to different, like at the council meeting, comprehensive, all of that teach you how to go out and speak or to lobby on what you want to see in the community. There's a lot out there that we can get involved with
So I'll share that link
and
back.
to share.
So you have that.
Yes, with us.
I also had a nonprofit reach out to me recently to see if, the housing committee would be interested in having a presentation on fair housing laws.
Sure.
I don't know if you guys would be interested in that.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I can coordinate that.
What did I miss? I think I missed one training that the town was offering about 2 months ago, about a month ago. I was out sick.
Yes, yeah, I don't, that,
I don't remember which one it was.
I'm trying to remember the training.
When I figure it out, I'll let you know. That I would like to get, I think it was. I'm not sure, I don't wanna, I'll go back and look on my notes, but there was one that I missed that I really wanted to do.
Okay.
But it was earlier this year.
If it was recorded, we may be able to find a link for you.
Okay.
Just let us know.
Okay, that's it. Letter of support, community planning grant for market study inclusion, housing with the EOHLC.
So I provided a draft letter for you to, I also emailed it to you as well prior to the meeting. But it's a planning grant, an application for a planning grant that our grant coordinator Alice will be submitting. But essentially, it's for an economic feasibility study to update our inclusionary housing ordinance. So essentially, it seeks to provide recommendations if we are awarded the grant and the funding to get the economic feasibility study to amend the town's inclusionary ordinance by understanding the impact of affordability requirements on proposed multifamily development projects, and the feasibility study will determine what levels of affordability can be achieved without overburdening the viability of a proposed development. So essentially, our inclusionary ordinance requires 10% affordability for projects over 10 units. So this potential, this economic feasibility study potentially could increase that percentage to 12 to 15 to 20, who knows? Well, it just has to kind of look at market realities and see if that 10% could be raised. So this letter would go as part of the application to hopefully receive the grant.
I think it's a good move for us, because I know our 10% is still very low, and we're always hoping to see if we can get something better than the 10%. So that's
The state sets the 10%.
As a minimum though, right?
yeah, that's the
And
minimum.
we're really in jeopardy as long as we're under the 10%, because 30B says they can void all the town statutes and laws. That's why a lot of them are negotiated.
So I don't know if you had the opportunity to kind of read the draft and if you're okay with it, if you had any changes. It's in your packet. It was also emailed to you.
Yeah,
If there's any changes, you know, Alice had put this draft together.
I read it, I'm just looking into this. Pardon me?
with the letter,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
any changes? What's this one? The only thing I saw, I think it's paragraph 2. I just gave it away.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I
it
got it
says-
right here.
Right, monetary
No.
justifications.
In the second paragraph there, it says, market responsive affordable housing requirements, and provide black and white monetary justification. I'm not sure what that means. I hope it's not racial.
Maybe clear.
No, but it's nothing.
I would rather say clarifying
That's
or
what
to
she
make
was
it,
trying to say.
Right.
Yeah, it's clear.
you know, more to the point, or just clarifying
Yeah, just-
the rules. That just, you could almost fit any argument into that.
Yeah, we can strike it.
If that just said, what would you like to know? Just clarifying, or?
Yeah, we could just say clarify or streamline permitting. The project will reduce regulatory uncertainty, provide education.
Perhaps the word statistical is
Yeah.
Or data-driven justifications.
Do you want me to read this out loud now?
It's not,
After-
it's not necessary, I mean,
Okay.
it's just,
I think that
We'll
you
do a
need
routine.
to take a motion if you're going to solve them.
yeah, definitely, I have that on the, I have it here.
Has everybody gotten a chance to read over it?
I'm okay with the rest of it, other than that one. I love the last one, that it could be a serve as a statewide model. Of course, because Barnstable does everything the best. Why shouldn't the state?
So if you guys are okay with the letter, and to send the letter and for Hilda to sign, then I think, a motion to approve the letter from the committee would be ideal, if you wanna
Okay.
make a
You want us
motion.
to, okay, can we make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve with the changes discussed. And second,
Okay, thank
so
you.
we're
Chris. Thank
authorizing you to
Lana.
sign.
Yes,
All in favor?
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Okay, that's enough from me.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you for your help. Thank you for your support to this committee. You've been doing an excellent job. I appreciate it. You know, we all appreciate it.
That's okay, that's what I'm here for, so.
Thank you. Alright. I think that's it. Update from the town council subcommittees. And we have committee to assess and recommend strategy for housing creation within the town. And you want me to read through it or is it long?
That's completely up to you, you were on the ad hoc committee, so if you just wanna
Okay,
briefly touch
I'll
on,
briefly touch on,
or just talk about the recommendations, or fill in the committee on what the ad
Okay.
hoc committee was doing.
so as part of the ad hoc committee, we had, and just a brief overview, on March 7, 2024, resolution was presented to Barnstable Town Council 2024-166D to establish an ad hoc advisory committee on housing. This initiative was designed under the leadership of Town Council President Felicia Penn. Continued action and resolve was scheduled for following Town Council meeting on March 21st, 2025. I'm not going to read through all of it, but on the last paragraph, on May 6, 2024, the Appointments Committee voted to place Rick Presby, Laura Scherfeld, Hilda Hay, Marianne Babuza on the committee. And we had the first meeting of the committee to assess and recommend strategies for the housing creation within the town was held on July 18, 2024. Rick Presby was elected as chair of the committee, and members of the committee was Laura Schoffeld, Marianne Babuza, myself, Hilda Hay, Councillor Paula Schiff, Councillor Gordon Starr, Councillor John Crow, Councillor Betty Lutek, and Councillor Charles Bloom. We have here tonight Councillor John Crow with us also. Further meeting was held on August 26th. There was a meeting on September 16th, October 7th, November 25th, December 30th of 2024. And in January, we had a meeting on January 16th, January 29th, February 24th. The last meeting was held on March 28th. A quorum was met at all these meetings, and the committee researched and reviewed many ideas and documents about housing and the current needs for housing. We had several Barnstable residents appear before the committee to present their ideas about our shortage of housing for many in need. The committee considered documents from the state, the county, the town of Cape Cod Commission, and other committees within the US. I'll go to the final recommendations. So recommend this, okay, the summary, the section of the report outlines key policy recommendations to increase housing production and to improve affordability within the town of Barnstable. The recommendation focuses on enhancing local revenue streams, optimizing the use of public assets, improving housing oversight, and regulating short-term rentals. Together, these actions will support the long-term stability and equity of the town's housing market. The first recommendation, home rule petition for transfer fee and high-value home sale. And that is if a house is sold over a certain amount, that a fee would be charged and would be put towards the Affordable Housing Growth and Development Trust. Propose and impact creates a dictating funding stream for affordable housing development, target luxury real estate transaction to support broader community housing needs, encourages reinvestment in local housing ecosystem. Next step is determine appropriate sale price threshold and fee percentage. Draft and submit the home rule petition. Conduct public outreach and education on the policies benefits. Recommendation 2 was the use of town assets for affordable housing. That was one of the things that we're still trying to work on. The town should identify and repurpose publicly owned land and buildings for the development of affordable housing. Purpose and impact to reduce acquisition costs for affordable housing projects, encourages strategic redevelopment of underutilized assets, increases the town's ability to control and manage the affordability of new housing units. And the next step would be to conduct an inventory of municipal owned properties, evaluate properties for sustainability in housing development. To partner with non-profit and mission-aligned developers. Recommendation 3 was to prioritize housing staff and inventory effort. The town council and town manager should prioritize funding for dictated housing staff person or develop alternative means to begin a comprehensive inventory of existing affordable housing stock. This role would be responsible for oversight and monitoring. So in this little area here, what we realized that we haven't had a housing person for probably over 3 years or more. And so that I think that has a great impact on how we move and how we get things done in the town, because there's no one that is responsible for that area, and I think we are really lacking in that area. So we're trying to see if the town will hire somebody or hire a company to do that kind of work. I don't know which one they'll choose, but that was one of our recommendations that we think will help to move things forward, because that would give us even a better handle on how many affordable housing we have out there, where the locations are, what improvement, if there's any improvement can be done on this property or addition on this property or whatever, but just to get a comprehensive understanding of what's going on with all these property.
They would give the report to
Yes.
the town council, and we'd get a copy through you.
Right. To To provide accurate data and current state of affordable housing, ensure compliance and long-term viability of the public funded housing programs, increase the town capacity to respond to housing challenges with timely and informed action. Allocate budget for a housing staff personnel, which I just said. Develop tracking system and periodically reporting the mechanism. Recommendation 4 was to establish a regulatory framework for short-term rental. You know, the purpose and impact is to help to preserve long-term rental housing stock, enhances the neighborhood stability and safety, provide a mechanism for data collection and enforcement. The short-term rental regulation include registration fees and operational standards.
Didn't the town council kind of put off the short-term rental issue, or they kind of kicked the can down the road?
I think for a while, right, Councillor?
That was a number of years back. I think it was in 2021. I think the council had a vote on regulations that were put forward from the planning department, and it was a 6-6 tie in the vote, so it was pushed down the road. Both the subcommittee and the committee on, what was the other committee that said something about short-term rentals? It was the
Development and, sorry,
which
regulation,
yeah, regulatory.
Regulatory.
The zoning regulatory also had the same recommendation. So it's, there were two subcommittees that decided that this was one of the priorities for what they were doing in the future. So I believe the council will be starting to work on that sometime to develop a document that describes what the priorities are.
I just act because I'm concerned that, you know, what the people are doing in a single-family residence, they're renting it out to strangers for 1, 2, 3 days for a party, and you've got children and everything else. You know, it's really, except that you don't have a sign out front that says hotel. The short-term, that is a hotel. And I don't know, you know, too many people bought their house thinking they were going to be next to a hotel. And my son's rented some houses in Penn State. We had to see a football game, graduation up there. And it was $4,000 for the weekend. So, you know, an awful lot of people, and I don't have any facts, but if people can make twice the rent by just renting it out 2 weekends, you know, that's going to take people, that's going to take housing away from families. That's my big concern, is one, safety, and two, you're changing the zoning without any change of zoning. You know, it's the only thing I see different is is that there's no sign out front saying hotel. And I don't believe any of the hotel regulations apply to short-term rentals. You know, and some of the regulations, we got too many, I know, but some of the regulations for hotels are put in place for good reasons. I don't know, I talk too much.
Well, we have recommended back, the group has come together and have seen it as a good way to go. So we'll see what the town councillors to say or what they will accept. That was one of our recommendations. So it's up to the town council to make a decision, or the town manager, whoever it is, that's gonna make those decisions.
But from the people you said that were on this is a very good,
It was.
very good start to get everyone together, the councillors and.
I enjoy meeting every month and going over strategy. It was great. We had 5 of our councillors with us, and we had members of the public who came out week after week, each month, and we listen and we take into consideration what we heard from the public, what's going on in our community, because we all live here and we understand what's going on. And hopefully we'll be able to move right along and to get more housing production. The most important thing is to have more housing, have more available for families who are in need. And I don't know, I think even the state needs to relook at, I would say, because what I take into consideration, if you're paying, like somebody who has an apartment or whatever it is, and you're paying, say, word speaking, $1,000 a month, and that person got a raise and probably make another extra $300, are we gonna throw that person out because that person is making an extra $300, yet that $300 can't really cover the inflation that we are experiencing? You know, so I think there's a lot of things that need to be taken into consideration with the low income housing and affordability. It's just like if we are trying to save families and to keep families off the street, not because the person make an extra $200, now you're gonna say you can't stay here anymore, yet that extra $200 will not be able to pay market rate.
And that's the problem, I think, a lot of people, I actually had one client that wanted to work 4 days instead of 5, because he said, I'll end up with more money. I said, what? He says, well, this is, based on this income, and this is based on not just the rentals, but other things, the oil thing and we should be encouraging people to work more. Not making it financially attractive. I don't condemn people for doing that. They made a rational decision. If I can make more money not working, why wouldn't you do it? I mean, you spend more time with your family,
So that was
There's no incentive to get past that, you know what I mean? Like the whole goal for the affordable housing, I look at it is to get past that, so you don't need that, and go buy your house or do whatever you have to do, but when you incentivize it the other way, like you just said,
Yeah, so I think those are the things that need to be looked at. The committee did spend a good amount of time, and whereby there were councillors, you have Chris has appeared, has been there, and we're hoping that I think things will starting to move, and the councillors and the town managers everybody will come together and start to work, because we were all in agreement for more housing, more affordable housing, and do everything in our power to get that moving.
I'm glad to see that that everyone now is, the last couple of years, kind of drifted. And I think housing is the most important. That's why I'm here. My grandkids can't afford a house. I think a lot of even the town employees probably, qualify for the affordable homes, but even then, the affordable part of it, affordable is kind of a loose term. It's really only another $200 a month or something for a lot of people, and it's, we need jobs. We need jobs. We need people working, paying taxes. We can do more.
Well, I think that goes to the point where, and if we're gonna restrict people, I think that's what that is. If we're gonna restrict people and say, in order for you to stay in this housing, you can work more than 24 hours per week.
Yeah. But they don't
Just
even
word
say that.
speaking, I don't think it's 24, but it's you're not incentivizing people to go out and work,
Right.
and to be better people and to be better family. That's what I see it as, because if I work more, I'm gonna lose all my benefits.
Yeah, people used to go get a second job. Now it's like, why? And husbands and wives are, the progressive tax thing is way beyond our pay grade, but you get a husband for $50,000 and a wife for $50,000. She just goes back to work. You think you're going to have twice the net? You're not going to. You're going to go from 15% to a 28%, and they say, well, wait a minute here, and then I got to pay childcare. So that the wife or the husband, whoever wants to not work, take care of the children. We shouldn't restrict. I don't know. That's just we need to have people working. I did many jobs, many jobs, time it was 11. And it's too bad that we're getting into the whole, I don't know, fairness thing. How about people just getting a job? We need to encourage employers, and it's way above our pay grade, but wouldn't it be nice if something, Google or something, some high-tech, company could come down?
Go online. You just need to learn how to use your computer,
Yeah, yeah, I could be a greeter, but I'm not friendly enough,
Did you have something you wanted to say, Jillian?
Well, I just wanted to point out the deed restrictions that preserve these units as affordable, it doesn't evict someone if they're making over a certain amount. There's a period of time by which if a person
So the income restrictions are for a limited time. But the deed itself is always going to be an affordable if they sell it. It has to, in perpetuity.
What I would like to just point out is through the monitoring of the income eligible units, we make sure that the people that are in the units, occupying the units, are income eligible. If they are making over, they can go up to 120% of median income
Oh, okay. So it's
before
not
there
a
would
dollar
be any concern.
cutoff.
So there isn't something that's going to kick people out. The incentive is to get to that higher earning and if there are, through the other piece of this is that the addition of more units all across the board of market rate and subsidized units is that more housing will be available so that if you're in an income eligible unit and you can find another unit, you would probably have incentive to move.
Okay.
It's all
It is,
demand and
and
supply.
people do seek to move on from income eligible units. They're not looking to stay there forever. It's just that the current condition is that there are not many units for them to move to. And that's my comment, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
I felt I
I'd like
needed to interject
to
that.
hear and to understand the whole mystery of what's going on.
It's demand and supply. We got more supply. The rents, well, they'll probably still go up. They won't go up at the same rate.
Okay, we have approval of minutes for September 24th, right?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from September 24th,
January
2024,
20 and January 23rd.
23rd, 2025.
Okay. Anybody to second?
Is there a second?
Chris?
And a vote?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We three were there.
Yeah, you,
I have to abstain.
Yeah.
Joe can't vote yet.
well, you'll have to vote on the next ones. You're not getting out of anything.
Yeah,
Well, those are the ones I watched.
you watched, yeah.
So we don't have a meeting date as such as yet, but we'll look into the calendar and see what we have for June and July.
Again, just
And
an
then
email.
we'll just
I don't care.
email everyone and see
Well, I
where
do
we're
care.
at.
I just
Email's
don't
probably
mind.
better
Yeah,
when,
right.
Yes.
with the two of you, that are available.
Sure, it's just, send availability, if you're open, that's fine, but if you guys do have scheduled restraint, then just send us availability and we'll work around it as well as Joe.
So items not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance of our meeting. Can we move that the meeting be adjourned? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.
Does anybody, so I guess my term, if that's what you wanna call it, is up in June. I never heard back. Somebody asked if I wanted to stay on for the next 3 years. I said, yeah, but that was it. I don't know if anybody.
We'll get the paperwork out to you.
Is there paperwork?
I'll speak with Cynthia.
Yeah, I believe she was the one that contacted me and I just said, yeah, I'm in, and I never heard back, so.
So renew
Somebody has
membership.
to reappoint, right?
Yeah.
Did we have a vote on the motion to adjourn?
I can't hear.
Yes.
Actually, before you adjourn, may I suggest that you're through email or Google, Doodle, that you consider meeting monthly on the same day and time, if maybe you can figure that out. I looked at the schedule, I know this is stale information, under the town council's webpage where it lists the town councilor's liaison, of which Councilor Crowe is your liaison to housing. And it says that the housing committee meets every third Tuesday at 8 a.m. in the selectmen's conference room. So that's incorrect, knowing that you're meeting now. But if you set up a monthly schedule that you think that will fit your schedules, perhaps you can get a little more traction than meeting from January to May.
It's a great idea.
Yes, I am, and the reason for that was because I was out sick for a while.
Oh.
So that's why I know our group knows, because I send out email
Yeah,
to
okay,
everybody
thank
to
you.
let them be aware what was happening with me.
Yeah, we can work on getting a stable meeting date for each month, even if they can't meet, there'll be just a meeting set up every month
That-
for them.
I think that would be good from the counselor's point of view, and I think it'd be good for building some, how do I wanna say, some traction, some
Yes.
Consistency.
momentum with the
Consistency,
work,
yes.
especially reviewing what the ad hoc committee did in advancing that. So if I can suggest that, if you don't mind,
No.
to butt in.
No, that's reasonable, thank you.
But when I saw this, I know that there's some other mistakes on the website that is not current information. But that way, if someone was interested in the work you're doing, they could say, oh, they meet on whatever date it is every month, and they can plan on attending and maybe enhancing the work you're doing.
Yes, thank you.
Where did you find that? I can get
It's
that.
under
correct.
town council liaisons, it's not, there's a lot of mistakes on what's being, but under.
And I need in the
Town
morning.
council liaison.
Either one
Well, we
sounds
used to
not
meet
good.
in the mornings, but that was way back when.
Oh, was it
We
the
used to
morning?
meet in the mornings,
Oh,
like at
no,
8,
that's
9 o'clock,
unacceptable.
not 8, but
That's-
it was
that's-
like 9.
Yeah.
Right, Donna?
Pardon me?
We used to meet in the morning, was it like, what, 9 o'clock in the morning? Is it 9 or 8?
I think it was 9.
Yeah.
Then we went to the afternoon, I think 5 o'clock.
Yes,
And then some people didn't like to drive in the wintertime at 5 o'clock because it's dark. So
yeah,
we've changed it around a lot, but it would be really good if we could meet monthly or bi-month or every other month on the third Tuesday or first Friday or something. And you could reserve it in your calendar. You don't have to meet. If you could send a email out saying, we don't have anything for you or whatever.
Okay.
But if we knew it was the third Tuesday or the whatever, we could at least plan our schedule to reserve the date.
yes, we will, we'll
Good
work on
idea,
that,
thank you.
thank you very
Get
much.
that sorted.
And with that, we
Did you guys motion?
make motion to adjourn.
Yeah, we had a first and a motion and a second.
Yeah, but
And all in favor is
All in
adjourning,
favor,
I'm sure.
yes.
You can join.
Okay. Thank you all for coming out, great.